Okay, so the question is, write a detailed account of the administrative measures put in place by Umar during his caliphate. Now, this is a very long question and there's a lot of material to put down there. It's a full 10-mark question, and that is, something that you can give a good answer to. The B part is, Umar's caliphate is regarded as the golden period of early Islamic history. Discuss. Now, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to think about it and then we'll discuss it. We go to the question, Umar's caliphate is regarded as the golden period of early Islamic history. In other words, something's really, really good about this period, that it is, it's like getting a gold medal for the period. So let's discuss. Expansion, why is it considered the golden era or the golden period of early Islamic history? Because the expansion of the Islamic empire, where did we expand ourselves up to? Remember the Yazdgerd, the Persian king, he had to escape. He escaped to Isfahan, then he went all the way up to Balkh in Afghanistan. And the Byzantine, at the Byzantine front also, remember, it was Umar's reign that they got to conquer the Byzantine and Egypt, the Alexandria, and the fall of Jerusalem also. These all happened during the time of Hazrat Umar. And then administrative reforms. He is recognized, his 10 years of service. What do we recognize? His reforms are recognized because he had a grave, nobody had ever thought of such reforms ever. So that's why it's known as the golden period, in which he we're going to discuss his administrative reforms, I think, in the next slide, in the next question. So I'll leave it there. And then Umar's law is also very famous. Umar's law is still studied in law schools, law colleges, law universities internationally. There is a topic based on Umar's law, that when you're going to do your bachelor's in law or master's, Umar's law, your LLB or Bharat law, Umar's law is discussed there also internationally. Then his 10 years was, he brought his subordinates to accountability. The best thing of this rule was that there was accountability, in fact, strict accountability. Every single year at the time of Hajj, his governors, his walis, and everybody who had a government duty were brought to Makkah, and anybody who had a complaint about based against them, who wanted to lodge a complaint against any one of the governors, they could do it openly and freely at the time of Hajj. And then Hazrat Umar would make the accused person explain, give an explanation. Then he had a strict intelligence system on his officers. Any person possessing an office, a government office job or whatever, they had people, intelligence officers who would guide, check on them. Plus their assets, when they were joined, suppose he would send a governor to some place in the Islamic Empire, he would check that person would have to declare their assets. And when the person would leave office, they would again have to declare how much assets they have. And if their assets were increased, the increased assets were taken away, because Umar said that this must be because of the perks that you gained during your governorship and not due to your own, earned halal earnings. Plus, Umar was an approachable leader. Anybody could go up to him and tell him that, their problems. He used to roam around the city streets at the night. He used to help people. He was an approachable leader. But remember, when he was young, remember the time, at the time when, during the life of the Prophet, he was a very rigid person, a very stubborn person. Dealing with him was very difficult. But when he was nominated as Caliph, it was very, he changed a lot. He became so approachable to anybody, in fact. And then plus he led by example. He also led a very simple life. He had patches on his clothes, And when it was not like he was living in luxuries and then telling others to, don't be extravagant. He also led by example. Then the military expansion. I mean, he cared so much for his military. That he established proper cantonments. In fact, he was the first one to establish a proper military setup. An army. Whereas previously, what used to happen was that whenever they needed war, people were called, spontaneously on the spot, and then people would come in voluntarily. But Hazrat Umar was the one who introduced a proper army, a proper military that will always be ready to go into war whenever, like the armies that we have today in our present international world. So he introduced the army, and them living in barracks, and then living far away from the civilian population, and then getting a permanent pay. This was all introduced by Hazrat Umar. Then social security benefits. You can see that I've got social security benefits. He was the one who introduced social security benefits, in which all people were given pensions, and non-Muslims were also given pensions. Those people who could not earn, or they could not earn due to a disability, they were given benefits. In other words, compensation, payment, money, so that they could live their life. And if you see today, the Muslim countries have not adopted these social security benefits, but England, even up till now, and I think Finland and Norway, they still offer social security benefits. In other words, if you're unemployed, you'll get an unemployed benefit. If you have children, every single child gets a benefit adopted from the time of Hazrat Umar. And all of his administrative reforms were all achievable. It was not, he didn't set up things that could not actually happen. Everything that he proposed, it was achievable, just with a little effort. Then he was the one who introduced a free judiciary, whereas otherwise, remember, the judge, the qazi, used to be the caliph. The judge, the qazi, used to be the same governor. But now he introduced a separate qazi, in which the judiciary was free from the government. We were supposed to adopt this in one aspect. We did adopt this in our constitution. It is mentioned in the Pakistani constitution. It is mentioned that the judiciary will be free, but practically on the ground basis, as we see today, that judiciary nowadays is not free, and that is the downfall of a country, basically, when you don't have a free judicial system. Prosperity, and this his 10-year rule, the golden period, was based on prosperity. They prospered a lot. There came a time that zakat was collected, and there was no person to collect zakat, to accept zakat. Everybody was well off. So this was a prosperous time. That's why it's also known as the golden period. And then his 10 years of caliphate was an example for the whole world. Many people, many states and nations today have adopted many of his administrative reforms in their government systems today. So he was also an example for the world. So that's why he is known. This golden period was an example for the whole world. I hope that answers the question. Does anybody